Are there any questions?
Yeah. Guys, the reverbs, obviously you've mentioned the plate. That's something I'm struggling with. I mix primarily in the box with a few tasty bits of outboard. I still use a Lexicon ECM81, plugged in as outboard, and occasionally a 480 and things like that. I do use the Sonos reverb, I do use the Revive 2. I've got a bundle of reverb plugins. Obviously you mentioned, like I said, that plate one.
It's amazing.
Sometimes you need something that isn't a plate. So what are the other plugins do you guys find?
The 224 I really like.
So that is quite a credible Lexicon, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, well, I can't remember what the original one sounded like because I always used the XL 224. And I actually was wondering about whether to mention that because that's something I'd like to see. If you're talking about stuff you'd like them to develop in the future, 224 XL and a 480 would be great. There's loads of them, the list obviously go on forever, but that was one of my favourite readers. I mean, it's got its own character, it's very posh, but it's beautiful for certain things. And the 224 seems to do the job a lot of times. I want like a really long, glossy reverb. Right? I mean, very different from the EMT. Obviously, the EMT is something that will make things sit in the track more. You don't really hear it as much as the 224.
Yeah, I definitely. Actually, to be honest, the 140 and the 250 plates.
The 250 is great.
It's the only ones that I've used for those reasons. But it's also the response to the 140. There was something that I picked up from Glyn Johns when I used to watch him mixing. He always put an EQ. He used to roll the top end off on the way into the plate and then put it back on the way out of the plate. And that you could get that really smooth, silky sound, that he used to use on it was on a Barbra Streisand session. So that huge reverb that's just beautifully silky, and it's just an easy way of doing it. And you can do that really easily on the plug-in, of course, because you've got all those things available.
It is the best plate I've ever heard, actually.
Yeah.
I've never heard EMT 140s sound as good as the plug-in.
So the plugin does correctly off thing.
Yeah.
So it's even.
Yeah, it's even. Yeah, it's probably
It's
probably made. It's all grown up. Everything is great.
We used to get the thing where you go into a studio, there'd be 2 EMTs, and the first thing you'd say was which one sounds better.
Yeah.
And now you've got a choice of 3.
That's right. I mean, some time ago, I used to go specifically to Lansdowne to mix because they had a great plate. So you used to hunt the plate on Abbey Road. Had 3 or 4 plates, and only one of them was any good, and that was only good on a cold November sunny day. In the summer, it was useless.
But you don't get things like there was one time at the Basing Street Studios, the plate room was behind the reception desk, and it was the general rule was that nobody was allowed in the plate room, especially when there's a mixing session going on. And in the middle of a mixing session, I kept hearing these noises coming back through the echo meter. And sent the assistant up there to check, and the room was locked. And to cut a long story short, in the end they took the side off the plate, and there's a bloody spider walking across the plate. Yeah, I mean, it's a ridiculous sound that was going on. So you don't get that, you see. Or maybe they should have
You
that.
can't pass him on people's plates and he was going
No, exactly.
That's right. The precision stuff is fantastic. I love the EQ.
What's that? I can never remember the name of it, but it's like the destroyer thing.
Distressor.
Distressor.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That's brilliant.
Really great. I mean, with Distressor, I think I did this thing the other week. And I said someone asked me, if you're going to buy one thing for a project studio, I think probably Distressor. Yeah, it does seem to cover all the bases, and this just again, it sounds like a little bit split. It's got loads of mods. It's got like side chain filters and. I don't think you get the original.
And what are those ones that there's the junior and the senior? What are they?
Yeah, I think the senior one's just the one with the extra
lights,
side chain stuff and the extra lights. Yeah. I think it's the extra attack and release of it. I'm not.
Yeah.
I just kind of fiddle about.
But it's, I mean, I think the thing is, I'm getting the same thing from you. It's kind of I get excited now about trying out this. And that used to be nice when you got a nice big rack of gear. You think, well, that'd be fun to try that.
But also, you say like, you don't have to go through 5 different bits of kit before you find the one you like. Because normally, if you want a Fairchild, you stick the UAD Fairchild in, it kind of does.
Yeah.
That's right. And actually, all the presets are really useful. They're great starting points.
Yeah.
Presets.
The vocal presets, very good.
Also, I mean, this may sound a bit nerdy, a bit posy, but you can, and I often do, actually. I'll use 2 or 3 different EQs to do things at different frequencies. And that really works beautifully. It's like never have been bonkers about the high top on the knee, what is it, 1081.
Mm.
But I love the way it can filter out mud about 200, 300. So yeah, I love doing that. And then I'll use something else that's like the precision things for that high top.
Never had a sweet top end.
Yeah, yeah. So that's, I mean, I never dreamt of doing that with plugins. I used to do it in the old days when I had more energy and plug loads of stuff up. But now you can do that, and it does produce really delicate and beautiful results sometimes. But yeah, so using different, because of the sound of the unit, using different EQs, plug-in EQs to do different things, to operate at different frequencies. But that I found really works beautifully on the UAD stuff. So it sounds like we work for UAD. We don't. I must say, my son actually works for UAD. We hate each other, so no, we don't. But it's so fantastic stuff. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible.
I just mentioned the ATR again because it's probably one of my favourite things, and obviously it's a bit gimmicky sometimes because it does do some very odd things at the bottom end. Quite often you switch it off and suddenly things come into focus again. But if you mess around with just the different tape settings, it makes a hell of a difference. I mean, you can actually see the HF and stuff. You can do it yourself.
You can open it up and
calibrate. Yeah, well, I always open it up. And so if it is doing something nice but something not nice, you can actually fiddle about quite it does change. So it's very good.
How have you guys found moving to, especially moving, relatively recently into working in the box? How have you found that's changed the experience of a mixing session? Besides the sound, in terms of, you don't, if you're doing it by yourself, you don't have an assistant.
I feel a lot more relaxed.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more relaxed. So I didn't need to barge in, but a lot more relaxed, and you're not thinking, got to get this mix done by 3 o'clock in the morning because we run out of studio time. It's our studio now, so you've never run out of studio time. Maybe the clients run out of money, but we'll chuck in another 2 or 3 days free just to get things done.
I do miss a bit of feedback. I do miss the band coming in at the end.
Oh, I don't.
Well, no, it's a bit, sometimes it's a nightmare. But if you've got somebody actually, you get a relationship with them, and then you can, just in terms of, let's try that there, okay, it doesn't work, but maybe suggest something else, maybe half as much. Otherwise, you're sending off 5 different MP3s until you get the result you want. But, and also for me, I don't know about you guys, but I always I like to work initially quite fast, get a vibe up, and then I sort of think, oh no, there's loads of details to sort out, I'm a bit bored with it, and then I like to go and start something else.
Yeah.
And exactly. So if all of you guys are going up with that, that's you just couldn't do that.
You couldn't do that.
You're stuck with this one song for days and days. And then when you finally get the mixed thing at home, you definitely nailed it. You think, oh, I didn't just manage to do that, and of course it's too late. It's down.
So the record companies say, "Oh, could we just, could you just do it again? Maybe the bass is a bit too loud." And then you spend 5 hours in the studio. Some poor assistant would get a recall that didn't work. So you spend half a day, if you like, recording a mix that nobody likes. So I used to loathe it.
I mean, obviously downsides, you get twigs to go on forever, but I think overall it's just
I think
so much better.
It's enabled me to the way that I do it is I start the mixing process and do a mix and then send it off, put it up on Dropbox so people can listen to it and make it the thing that you have to be very clear about is that people give feedback to you quickly. And then I can start another mix while they're thinking about it.
That's a great thing, yeah.
And then I get some feedback from them, maybe do a couple of tweaks and send them another version of it. But I actually get them in at the end of it. Because we just say, come in with your list, and we just sit there, because then I can go through and say, well, I tried that, number 4 on your list, I did try that, and this is what happens when it makes this fall apart over here. They can hear that happening, and it makes it's much easier than kind of the battles that you quite often had.
And you don't have to do stems now.
Hmm?
You don't have to do, I don't do stems.
Oh, stems. Who thought that up?
Film
Can we find him and kill him?
Film.
Yeah, well, that's to be something in the film.
Yeah, so you never have to do stems. You still do a backing track or.
Well, I still get asked to do them, but
Yeah, I don't do them.
I
I
mean,
try
well,
not to. But
Yeah.
it's written to your contract all the time.
Is it?
yeah,
Mine.
mine. There's people take stems to the mastering room.
Oh, God.
But who's
Sorry, I might be insulting somebody.
Yeah, but it may be written into the contract, but I haven't done stems for ages.
Well, I don't do rather, sometimes I have to.
I do backing tracks and stuff like that. Yeah.
But again, another obvious thing is you can leave all that to the end if you have to do this.
Yeah. Or even get somebody else to do
There was
it.
nothing worse. Think about it. I mean, I've forgotten about this aspect. We're sitting there, and supposing there's 5 different versions of it. God, it's awful. It used to happen, but it used to happen occasionally with bands. But can I have a version with me up? So you'd be 5 different versions. But if you've got to run TVs and instrumentals, every version of it exponentially multiplies. Obviously, you spend 2 days running bloody versions, none of which are going to get used.
No.
It's absolute nonsense.
I still don't do stems.
You still use stems?
It takes forever.
No,
The funny thing is, the process will level it so it's faster than real time.
And the thing is
but
that-
I always have to listen to it because I've always forgotten to.
The thing is, they'll never work, will they, stems? Anyway, if you put them all up at 0, it still sounds different.
Yeah.
There's a million reasons why, so what's the point? Okay.
I guess this is a kind of double-edged sword for UAD because, like, are we ever going to want to buy any hardware?
I won't.
UAD hardware?
I spend the money that I got. I spend on instruments actually. So no, I wouldn't buy any hardware. I'd buy microphones maybe. Well, I wouldn't buy microphones.
The problem with hardware is something I've been struggling with in our setup, is getting out of the Pro Tools through the hardware and back into the Pro Tools without using up the I/O that you've already got. And I've been banging on for ages and ages. Somebody should come up with an interface that does nothing more than goes out and back again, so you can use it as a kind of digital patch bay to use hardware. Because then you could have your hardware hanging
Using it like
there all the time and just drop into it. I mean, for instance, I've got in our rack we've got one of the Trident A range channels that Malcolm Toff made, and then we've got the soft tube version and the UA version of the Trident, and they all sound quite different, and it'd be nice to be able to sort of just decide which one to use with the 3, but you have to sort of, it gets a bit complicated. It's much easier now. That's one of the reasons why I use the Rupert Neve summing mixers, because that's got inserts on, so I can actually.
So your mix will still go through analog summing?
Well, yeah, I do that. There's a specific reason why I do that. Is because and I think you mentioned about it's the bus levels. I find that I've got so much more headroom if I come out through that, and it puts less of a strain on the Pro Tools.
Rather than the dimension and the width and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, it gives detail. For me, it adds much more space to the mix, and a lot of that I think is because it's giving me a lot more headroom. And it's only 16 outputs basically, just summing into 2. But I'm not one of those people that says summing out of the box is better than summing in the box. I use the summing out of the box because that particular device imparts a personality to the sound.
Which
that
is
I
all it
particularly
needs.
want. Yeah, it's all it needs. Because up until then, it doesn't have any personality.
The DBX60 sounds good.
It does. It does. And I never used to like the original.
No, I never used them. I was scared of them.
Yes, so was I.
They used to bark at you.
Everyone else used to use them. I never got them.
No, I
finally realised what was good about them.
Yeah, exactly. See, Dave? But I think we've given the impression that we love the stuff.
There was an EQ you mentioned when we were talking on your own. Was that the precision EQ? You said you liked.
I do like it, yeah.
Is that the one? Is that the only one?
No. I mentioned the
booklet.
precision, for instance, the top. I love the top and the precision. So I think I was mentioning it when I said I'd use, for instance, the Neve, the 1081 to get rid of some mud because I love the way it does that, but I don't really like the high top as much as I do on the precision. I use the precision for the high top. The Pultec, which I haven't mentioned, but the others have, is fantastic. I mean, a real Pultec, I've always viewed it as a magic box. You just have to plug it in and suddenly. Oh, that's
It is great.
Is there an API on UI?
Yeah.
Is there?
We haven't got it.
Yeah, I've got it. I'm scared of updating the things.
Well, both of them, the parametric and the...
Yeah.
Is there?
550 and 560.
I haven't got
560 and the 558.
I have to try that. And you see, that's the other thing. It's always been my ultimate desire. Well, the perfect desk for me would be a desk that's got loads of slots in it and have 24 API EQs, 24 need EQs, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and you just move them. And there was a studio called Dreamland Studios in New York State, and they got a full set of the parametric APIs, a full set of the graphic APIs. And you configure the desk, I'll have that one on the kick drum, that one on the bass, and so on. It was great. But if you go one step further than that, and you use needs and so on and so forth, and of course that's now possible to do.
Well, we must have the APIs. I'm scared of updating them.
Well, the other thing that we haven't tried yet, because we've got the Apollo wired up, thanks to our good man there, Adrian.
Right.
We've got it all wired up, so we could actually use it as a front end for recording into the Pro Tools.
But you haven't got Thunderbolt on the Big Mac.
No, you don't need it. We just use it as an external mic pre and use the mixer.
Oh yeah, the mics are fine. Yeah, I've used it on the laptop. And the Apollo actually, with the laptop, we've got Thunderbolt on the laptop, which is great. You can use the EQ and everything to record. Not that I have, but you can.
Does anybody use the channel strip for recording?
No.
No, I mean, to be honest, for recording, for serious recording, I still like going to a big studio and using a big mixer with big musicians.
I was going to say about hardware, that's the only, I mean, a mic pre, any hardware I want with, because
He likes going to a big studio because he's got an assistant.
Flag stuff up. Even studios that I love, like Abbey Road and Air. Hardly anybody goes there to mix. And even Abbey Road has done over the past 10, 15 years, as has Air. They've done lots and lots of film work. And I was having lunch with Colette recently, the lady who runs the studio, and she said there's a studio at Abbey Road called the Penthouse. And guess why it's called the Penthouse? Anyway, they've got one of these huge Neve digital, what they're called mixers. And they used to do lots and lots of film mixes there, because film work requires lots of stems, lots of different sorts of mixes. They used to do a huge amount of film work. And she said even that has dropped off. Even the film, because the composers now have got great studios with great plugins and everything, and they're mixing at home. They're mixing at home. So much as I champion great studios, and I try and support them as much as I possibly can, budgets allow. Mixing, for me anyway, mixing in the studio is a complete waste of time and money. And there's all the record companies that I work for, they know that we've got our own studio. They know, it's like 250 quid a day for the studio, and they know that if they want to have vocal a bit louder or a bit quieter or slightly less top noise, they know it takes 5-10 minutes to do. They know they're not going to get charged. And on a slightly wider basis, the fact that we have that facility, the fact that engineers and producers have that facility, I'm sure brings more work to outdoors than if we didn't. In my case, I'm convinced, actually.
I think the expectations you can't have your own place.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't get any work at all.
Who's going to pay you to spend £2.5 grand at Abbey Road to mix a song? Thank you. People do, sometimes people do because it's lovely and it's great and it's fantastic, but to be honest, I don't know if the results are any better. And I'd be really nervous about doing that. I'd be really nervous about the time scale, about the pressure, thinking, oh. You know, the great thing about mixing in the box now for me is that there's no nervousness, because if nobody likes it, you just do it again. It's fine, it doesn't cost anything.
It's a more creative process as well.
Yeah, and I actually, as opposed to Dave, I actually like mixing alone. I'm really
I do as well.
I'm really happy for feedback. And
I know I'm sitting around, it's not a spectator before, but you used to, didn't you? It didn't used to matter, but yeah, now it's someone sitting there all the time.
Yeah, no, I don't like the drums. Yeah, we're listening to the guitar mic.
But usually also struggling to sort of, listen to their own environment, listen to their home, so that's just the norm now. But when it does happen, you do get a band in and they know what they want.
Yeah.
Then it's just more fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it is.
People.
No, I understand. But then again, I don't work much with bands. Tony does. You do. I don't like him.
How much time do you devote to mixing a track now?
About a day and a half.
Yeah. And how different is that to obviously when
It's pretty much the same. It's just I'm more relaxed about it. Yeah, about a day. I mix for a day and then leave it to cook overnight and come in and, you know, finish it off by lunchtime. You know, I tend to work quite early, so early. I start at 10. So by 1 o'clock, it's normally everything's fine. So it's about a day and a half.
Yeah, for me, it depends on the project actually. For jazz projects, it's considerably less because the budgets are considerably smaller. But the mixes are quite a lot simpler for that. So, but ideally, a day. I'd like a day a song, really.
I'll tell you, actually, it might be worth mentioning. It might not, maybe broad, stiff, but when I mix. I very rarely use any limiting or compression on voice. It's really unusual for me to do that. Now mixing in the box, I've spent quite a few hours just doing level changes on the voice. And I'm much happier with that uncluttered sort of vocal sound that allows you to do. Now you never really be able to do that well in the studio on a big mixer. So that has enabled me to, I mean, most of the work I do is with sort of solo singers or maybe a couple of people in a band or something like that. But it's mainly vocally led, the stuff I do. So it's having the UAD, mixing in the box, has enabled me to really look at the voice very carefully, microscopically. I spend hours doing level changes on voice, minute level changes. Just take
you do automated EQs on them?
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Yeah, if you got suddenly they're a bit closer to the mic and go, then you can filter that out.
I looked at Mark Langer once and he was doing it manually. A roadie sitting there with a graphic, and it's like every time the singer sang all three, to roll out of that and roll out of that. I do that.
Yeah, so it does allow you to become, as Tony mentioned, much more creative in many ways.
Yeah.
Because there isn't the pressure. This has to be done by midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning. It's got to be on the A&R guy's desk tomorrow morning. There was always this sort of,
I think there's a lot of,
is it okay? You know?
There's a few guys our age who sort of still swear by the old manual mixing and the seat of the pants, and I couldn't do it at all now. I always, as I said before, I always used to really believe that something was missing, that something was lacking mixing in the box, and everything has been turned around for me by the UAD stuff.
I think the only time that the opposite of that was true, I was working with Jazz Jamaica All Stars, and I decided I wanted to do a few dub mixes, a couple of the tracks.
Yeah.
And started doing it in the box, and it was great because you could do all sorts of things and change things. But one of the things that used to be great about dub mixes was about sort of 12 pairs of hands all leaning across, and most of the really good stuff that happened was when somebody slipped and pushed the echo send up and it distorted everything. And
well, that's the whole thing about control, so to be able to grab more more than one thing at a time.
Absolutely.
And I do miss that occasion. When you're doing something really like that, or if the mix is crap, you want to pull it down. Sometimes you want to just grab everything and go a bit nuts with it.
Yeah, that's strange.
That's something you obviously you can't really do.
No.
Sort of do it, but
No,
most of the time it's just you get the initial balance and then it's just like tweaks really. So.
Well, of course, the other thing that's really facilitated, if you've got you've stretched on budgets and you've really got to mix something very, very quickly, being able to get your basic mix set up and then bring the session details across into the next one, so that you've got a good starting place. That speeds the process up quite dramatically.
Yeah. I think I listen much more carefully than I ever used to. Actually, I'm much more analytical and checking stuff out. Yeah, I listen more carefully. I spend a lot of time listening.
That's a good thing, really.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah. People told me you ought to spend more time listening.
What?
Do you think that different controllers would help?
Not me. I'm perfectly happy with the mouse.
I've tried controllers.
I've spent a long time trying to find something that would satisfy what we want as a controller, and it's just really simple actually. It's just something that had a couple of faders that you could do fader rides, and had a credible control surface for controlling plugins. It'd be really, really nice, but there isn't anything.
I'm happy the way it is. I like it. I know how it works. It's fun.
Well, can I stop looking for that? I'm good.
No, I
Feel free
really
to.
would love to be able to grab EQs or plugins and just, physically, but ideally you want to physically twiddle a knob and then just get rid of it. But they haven't quite got that.
No, it's interesting you say because I do that when I'm recording.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I do that when I'm recording, but mixing, I'm really happy with it. I've never been so happy. You'll be pleased to hear.
Yeah, for me, I suppose that's generally where the hardware side will come in when you're recording as well, which I don't really do much of.
Yeah.
But that's when you do need, it's nice to get your hands on something like
Well, I do a lot of EQ when I'm recording. A lot of EQ.
I do none, you see.
See?
Even the seagulls are laughing at that.
Now you're in the box, how do you know when a mix is done?
It's never done. It's just abandoned at hopefully the right time. I always do it as a bit like being on a roundabout. When you're a kid, you're on a roundabout, it's going faster and faster and faster, and you jump off. What mixes?
It's like a song's never finished, is it? The song can keep evolving. You just it's getting the snapshot at the point that.
Actually, I think as long as you keep fresh and everything, it's going to be fun. And it's only a mix. It's not your life. It is a mix, and it can be revisited.
I find sometimes when I'm printing, I just hear things different anyway.
Yeah, you do.
If it's like, oh, hang on.
Yeah.
You thought it was the right version. And now I can punch in on my mixes. I don't know if you do offline bounces or whether you bus it. I bus it so I can punch in.
I bus it, yeah.
And I just sit there, sometimes digging and I think that's just stupid, just print the whole thing again. But sometimes it's just, if something goes, you think a little thing at the end there.
That's right. It changes the way you listen. As soon as the red light is on, after all these
it's like other people's ears,
as soon as the red light is on, as soon as you see that recording. Yeah. I mean, I utilise that now as part of the mixing process. I'll start recording a good sort of 2 hours before it's done. Because I think, that's still good, let's take it. Then go back and do it. It just sort of sharpens, I don't know, somehow sharpens the knives once you've got the red light on, once it's recording.
I'll print various versions. Sometimes really early on, but there's a certain vibe, even though everything's wrong. I'll print that and then occasionally I'll convert it. And then sometimes I'll drive myself nuts because I have 3 different versions. I just think, oh God, why can't I send them all off and let someone else decide? But you just can't do that, you've got to decide. But the great thing is also with the process, obviously, if you can think, okay, well I did have it right the first time, except that I have got the vocal sound better now. So you just drag in the vocal sound from mix 3.
Yeah. It's great, it's a wonderful thing.
I listen from the other room sometimes.
That is a good thing. I don't do that.
With the door open.
Yeah. No, I often, actually, I'll tell you what I do. I often listen whilst when I am printing. I'll sometimes move to the other side of the room, do some emails.
Yeah, doing something else is really
do
good.
Something else.
Just the other things.
Yeah. You you can see I'm not as fit as Tony, so I don't walk out the room quite so much. But no, I often do something else when I'm actually recording the mix. I think things, you know, you hear things out the sort of corner of your ear, like you see, something grabs your attention. That's not been great. So that's the actual recording is a really, I find it as a really useful part of the mix there. That makes sense.
So if you're mixing the box, how much headroom do you tend to leave on the mix force before you send it?
Loads. I leave loads, yeah. I don't record loud and I don't mix loud. Because nobody ever bought a record because it's loud.
A&R men reject a mix with any loud.
A&R men do reject a mix, it's not
I always do two versions, one,
yeah.
but I don't care about the levels, so the limit is roughly right.
Yeah.
Because the mastering, there's always one with a limiter on it, discuss that.
Yeah, you know, I've stopped doing that actually, and I've not been having problems with people getting worried about it.
There's a mate of mine who's a very famous producer, very nameless, but he's always going, oh, your mixes don't sound as loud as that. But I said, well, fucking start then. You're a professional.
Yeah.
And it's human nature, I think. You know?
Yeah, but I suppose because funny, I've got this sort of long-term sort of hatred, in a way, of compression that you don't want. So, because I was brought up on tape, I was always I'd never liked recording too loud, because that thing that so many people are after, that tape compression, I used to hate it, and it still makes me feel edgy now. You know, I just don't. I like the sound of tape, but I really dislike the sound of things being squashed. Because I think you know, it depends on what you're interested in and what you want. The things that I'm really interested in is sort of depth and perspective and in fact, I've got to say this, he's here, Dave's here, but I thought something that really opened my ears to the sort of things that can be achieved is something Dave did. He recorded Tears for Fears album, and I thought it was an amazing sounding album. That's clever. Nothing sounded squashed or ugly. It was really beautiful and open. And I love that. I love that sort of perspective. It doesn't really matter to me how loud it is. So it's just hung over from recording on tape. I still don't push things in the box. And also, I try to record everything at the level on tape or on the multi-track, so that before the fader is at 0, that's basically a mix. And that's another hack I learned from tape. And because you put on any tape, you know, you're doing an album, and somebody says, well, let's do this, let's do that, the can balance is always going to be there. Because if it's recorded at the right level, and all the cans more or less at the right level, you don't have to spend 3 hours getting the vibe back on the track. You know, oh no, it didn't sound like that yesterday. Whereas if you record everything at the sort of correct the level you imagine you're going to mix it at, more or less. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, within 5 dB or something, you've got things in more or less a straight line, and that is you know, it's going to sound the same every time. So anyway, that's my. Go on, you're good.
Well, I leave lots of headroom as well, and but that's one of the reasons why I use the external summing, is because if I want to apply a bit of analog compression, I can push it hard through those preamps, and then back it off on the way out when it goes to the mix machine, and that still gives me plenty of headroom. And I don't compress at that point in time, because I know that I'm going to want to choose the right compressor at the mastering stage when I get in there with Ray, so I don't kind of commit to that at that point in time. So it's also good leaving plenty of headroom, and you know, going to 96K or 192 and leaving loads of headroom is fantastic. The sound just opens up.
I have to say, I think it's probably a bit different with some of the pop stuff that's out there now, because you just get these vast sessions with thousands of tracks of backing vocals. And everything's about, it's constantly selling your face.
Yeah,
really, you know, so I will chain up lots of different compressors and limiters to try and get that, you know. And
I don't know how to do that.
yeah, well, it's just, I'm always, it's something I'm using more and more compression. It's much more I used to.
Yeah. I use compression more like a tonal thing. So it tilts the perspective a little bit. So you're just looking at the sound in a slightly tilted way. Rather than he's no longer interested in me. Anyway, is there anything else anybody would like to ask? That's it.
What time's the last class?
It's only 9 o'clock.